Howdy guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Makayla, and today I'm giving you summer book recommendations as well as telling you what is on my summer TBR. We have a lot of books to talk about, so let's jump right into it. Starting out with my recommendations, I really wanted to put together a list of books that I don't see recommended very often because obviously we have like our Emily Henrys and stuff like that are perfect to read in summer, but I really wanted to just try to put books that aren't as mainstream to maybe give you some different recommendations that you might not have seen before. For general fiction books, the first one is The Wedding People by Alison S. Spock. This is a story about a woman who is in a very dark place in her life and she decides to go to this resort, and it turns out she's the only person at the resort that is not there for this wedding, and she gets really close with the bride of the wedding, and it's just a really good story. I would highly recommend looking up trigger warnings because it is very dark. Our main character has some not good intentions when she goes to this hotel, so I would highly recommend looking up trigger warnings, but I felt like it was such a good summery read and I would highly recommend it. And if you want a little bit more of a historical fiction, I would recommend The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna. This is a historical fiction set in the 1920s in Texas, so during the Great Depression, and it was such a captivating story about family and going through hardship. And I don't know if it was just because it was set in Texas, but it kind of just gave summer vibes to me, not in the sense that it's light, like this is a heavy read, it's a dark historical fiction, but it was a really great time. And if you're wanting something deeper during the summer, I would highly recommend this book. The audiobook is also amazing. That's how I read most of it, was through the audiobook, and I would highly recommend. And then the last general fiction book I have on this list is Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. In this story, you're following the story of a boy. His nickname is Demon, and you're just following his life and growing up in hardship and with an addict of a single mother and all of this stuff. And I thought it was a really great story. I listened to the audiobook of most of this. It's a well-loved book. It's very, very well written, and I thought it was such a beautiful and again a captivating story that really just kept me hooked. And it's pretty much a story of a boy telling the story of his life, so that's why I felt like the audiobook really lent well to this book. And again, if you're just wanting something a little bit different during summer, I would highly recommend this book. And also, this is one of my favorite book covers ever. I just think it is so pretty. I love it. Even though it's a very dark book on the inside, I love the cover of this book. But we have Demon Copperhead. Shifting into romance, there is a list of books that has probably been recommended to you over and over and over, and I'm trying not to give you those recommendations because I get the same recommendations over and over, like Emily Henry, Abby Jimenez, Carly Fortune, like all of those authors have amazing summer books that I'm sure you have heard about and have probably read at this point. But some books that I don't see talked about as much that I think are really amazing and would recommend are some of these. So first up, we have The X-Files by Jessica Joyce. This one is such a fun story, and it's a second chance romance, and it's set at a winery in California, and I thought it was so fun. It's a great, great book. I loved it, and I would highly recommend this one. Then we have Summer Romance by Annabelle Monaghan. This is a kind of story of a woman who's going through a lot of hardship, a divorce with kids, and trying to find herself again, and I thought it was an amazing story. Again, it's a summer romance, so perfect for summer, and there was a lot of quotes in here that were absolutely amazing and that I absolutely loved. So I love her writing, and I can't wait to pick up more of her books after I read this, and I cannot recommend this one enough. And then the last one, this is kind of more of an older book, but I have Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I actually just read this, and it is perfect for summer. Like, I binged it in a matter of 2 days, and you're kind of learning about these siblings and how they grew up, and it's this big party that gets thrown every year, and at the end everything burns down, and you already know that going in, so it's kind of backtracking and figuring out what is happening. And I thought it's a perfect book to just read by the pool, read on the beach, that type of stuff, and it's a perfect little summer read. Now, if you have not read the books, but you have seen the show, I would highly recommend going and reading the Summer I Turned Pretty trilogy. These books are so short and so easy to fly through, and they're just so fun. I absolutely love the books, and I think it's fun to read the books as well as watch the show and see the differences and the similarities, and it's so fun, and I think it's a great read. They're a little bit more young adult, but the audiobooks are now narrated by the characters in the show, which is such a fun little twist on it. So would highly recommend reading this trilogy. And if you want something that is very, very similar vibes to this, like pretty much same storyline in a sense, we have 99 Days by Katie Catugno. It is also a girl who gets involved with two brothers, and yeah, she's in town for 99 days. throughout the summer, and this also has great summer vibes. Could not recommend this one enough, especially if you like these books. Now, I'm only going to recommend 2 fantasies because I feel like fantasy is such like a fall and winter genre for me. I have a hard time recommending fantasy during the summer, but there's 2 that are just so lighthearted and fun that I think they're perfect to read during summer. And that is Assistant to the Villain and Apprentice to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Meyer. These are so amazing. Like I said, they're not really fantasy. They're very lighthearted, so fun. There's a lot of banter between the characters, and it's a great time. They are a little silly, so if you don't like cheesy books, you're probably not gonna like these, but I love a good cheesy book, cheesy show, all of that type of stuff. So I would highly recommend these. The 3rd book is also coming out in August, I believe, which I'm so excited for. And yeah, we have Assistant to the Villain and the 2nd book, which is Apprentice to the Villain. Moving on to mystery, thriller, and horror. I love this genre, and I think it can be really fun to read in the summer. So I have a lot of really good picks on here that I don't see a lot of people talk about. So starting out, we have 2 books by the same author. They're not connected at all. We have All Good People Here and The Missing Half by Ashley Flowers. She actually runs the Crime Junkie podcast. She's the producer of it, as well as she's one of the hosts of it. And she wrote these books. They're just really fast-paced mystery thrillers, and they're on the shorter side, especially The Missing Half is a really short, and these are so amazing. I would highly recommend them. They're just a fun little thriller. Now, I'm gonna recommend this book because I just finished it and actually watched the movie. That is Clown in a Cornfield by Adam Cesar. This is so amazing. I love this book. I actually gave it 5 stars, and it's just a slasher thriller, like summer camp vibes, and it was absolutely perfect. I loved the movie and the book, and if you're not one that really likes kind of like gory slasher horror movies slash books, I wouldn't recommend this, but if you're just in for a dang good time, would highly recommend it. I had an amazing time. Like I said, gave this 5 stars, and it was so fun, and I think it's just a perfect like summer slasher to get you in the mood for Summerween, which is coming up, and you best be ready for some videos for Summerween. Now this book, if you're looking for something that isn't just your traditional book and is kind of very unique in its own sense, we have Murder in the Family by Kara Hunter. It is not a traditional book. It is told exclusively through like interviews and news stories and all these articles, and it is so fun. And you're trying to figure out the mystery of what happened to this guy who got murdered, and you're talking to like his whole family, and like I said, it's told through like interviews and news stories. And it was just something different. Like if you're just kind of in a slump, not really picking up a lot of books, and maybe you just want something different to try and break you out of said slump, I would highly recommend this book. I will say it took me a while to get through just because it isn't a traditional book. Like you are like sitting in interviews and reading news stories and having to put together the mystery, and it's really fun because you're putting together the mystery along with the characters that are sitting there. So it's a really fun time, and I don't see a lot of people talk about this, but I would highly recommend Murder in the Family. This one is a little bit more mainstream, but I would feel remiss if I didn't include it in this little genre, and that is The Perfect Couple by Ellen Hildebrand. This is just a summer mystery. There's a wedding, and the maid of honor turns up dead on the morning of the wedding, and they're trying to figure out who done it, and it's just perfect. They made a show out of it. I haven't watched the show because I've heard it isn't that good, so I never watched it. It is a little bit on the longer side, but I did read this on the beach, and I had a great time. I mean, even the cover. I think Ellen Hildebrand is a perfect author for summer reads, and I'm excited to pick up more of her books this summer, which you'll see here in a second, but we have The Perfect Couple. Next book, I feel like I've never seen anyone talk about it. I found it at a thrift store, and I absolutely loved it. I read it last summer. That is The Cousins by Karen M. McManus. It's about these cousins that get called back by their dead grandmother to come work at her resort for the summer, but things go awry. There is something wrong. There is something weird going on, and it was so fast-paced. It's really short. It's a good thriller, and I believe it is young adult, so it's just perfect summer vibes, and I felt like it was so fun. And again, if you're just wanting a quick little thriller that's set in the summer at like a resort, this is perfect, and I think you'll have a great time. Another book that I actually just finished is Fantastic Land by Mike Bakoven. I think that's how you say it. This is a horror book, so if you don't like gory slasher stuff, I wouldn't pick this up. But it's the story of this group of people that get stuck at an amusement park during a hurricane, and they're stuck there isolated. They can't get out. They do have like food and shelter. Then they start turning against each other, killing each other, turning into tribes. And it's so good. It is told through the form of like interviews, like a reporter interviewing the people that were there that survived and like them telling the story. And again, it was just another unique story. I had a great time reading it, and it was just fast paced. It was kind of eerie, freaky. I got some spooky vibes from it, and I thought it was a great time, and we have Fantasticland. Then my final recommendation for this summer is another like thriller, and that is They're Vicious Games by Joelle Wellington. This very much has kind of like a Lord of the Flies kind of trial aspect, and it is so good. It's about girls that get put through this family's games to get like a full ride scholarship wherever they want to go, but the games turn deadly, and they're deeper and darker than she would have ever thought, and it is so good. I feel like this book does not get the hype that it deserves because it is such a good time. And if you love like a good trials, good like fighting to get through stuff, this is a perfect read, and I highly, highly recommend you pick this up. I recommend you pick up all of these, that's why I'm saying it. So my stack for my summer TBR, like I said, very, very ambitious, but let's get right into it. Starting out strong, I have a classic, and that is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I just watched the movie of this, the 2005, like famous movie. Fell in love with it. It is one of my new favorite movies. I absolutely loved it, and now I bought the book so that I could read it. I even bought a special edition because I feel like I'm gonna really love it. So I have this book. I also have the audiobook of it through Audible. It's included in the Audible subscription, so that's probably how I'm gonna read most of this, just because classics can take me a hot minute to get through, but I felt like it would just be a good, fun time. I love like a classic romance, and I thought it'd be good to spice up some of these just like general fictions that I'm reading. So next up, we have a romance / general fiction, and that is Between Us by Mari McFarlane. I've been wanting to pick up this author for a long time. She's been highly recommended by Haley Pham, which she's one of my favorite booktubers. I've been following her for years and years, like even before she started doing book content. So her harping on this author so much, I really wanted to pick this up. So view this one. This one sounded the most interesting to me. It's about a girl who her boyfriend or ex-boyfriend like made this reality show. Well, then she starts realizing that this reality show is very similar to like her life and what she told him in confidence, and that's kind of the basic premise. It is a little bit longer, but I think it'll be a great time, and I'm excited to start a new author because I've been in a little bit of a slump. So I think maybe starting a new author, maybe I'll find a new author that I really, really love. Rolling along with some really, really popular books that I have not read yet, The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. I have the first 3 books, so the main trilogy that she released. I bought all 3. I loved the movies growing up. I just never really read growing up, so I want to go back and actually read them because I want to read the 2 newer books that she released, especially Sunrise on the Reaping. I've seen so many amazing reviews on that book, so I do want to read the original trilogy first because I do know the movies stray from some of the details in the books a little bit, so I do want to get the full story, and I'm so excited for this. I feel like I'm gonna like binge the full series once I start it, and I'm definitely gonna film a vlog of reading The Hunger Games for the first time, but super excited that I have The Hunger Games on this list. Now for a new release, that is my Pride and Joy. I actually just bought it today, and that is Problematic Summer Romance by Ali Hazelwood. Ali Hazelwood is an auto-buy author for me. I absolutely love her. I will read anything that she puts out, and she's been bopping them out. I feel like she releases books very, very often, and I'm so excited to read this one. It's an age gap summer romance. It's in the same world as Not in Love, and I know we get a little sneak peek into those characters, but I'm so excited, and I cannot even describe. I am going to pick this up very soon. Now for another shorter, just kind of palate cleanser book that's a little bit deeper, we have Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Tajikazu Kawaguchi. I really am trying not to butcher the name, but that is this book. Obviously this one's very popular. I've seen so many people talk about it, and I'm excited to finally read it because it's just talking about like if you could go back in time, what would you do? And I love those types of stories, and like I said, I've heard amazing things about this, so I want to finally pick it up, and I feel like it's just a good little palate cleanser, maybe get me deeper in thought than some of these just like silly little romances that I have on my list. And along with that theme, We have Tuesdays with Maury by Mitch Albom. Again, have heard amazing things about this. Again, it's a deeper, shorter book to like throw in there when I just want to think more about my life and probably have a crisis after reading them. But we have Tuesdays with Maury. Now from an author that I really like, we have Nora Goes Off Script by Annabelle Monaghan. This is one of her older releases before summer romance, and I've heard amazing things. It's a shorter romance, which I really enjoy because I feel like some romance books are getting way too long. Why do we need 400 pages for a romance? But anyways, we have Nora Goes Off Script. Following along with the theme of authors that I know I really like, we have The 5-Star Weekend by Ellen Hildebrand. This is a summer book through and through, and again, I love Ellen Hildebrand. I read her book last summer, so I'm excited to read some of her other books. I want to read this and The Hotel Nantucket. I think they're in the same world, like the Nantucket series world, so I'm really excited. But we have The 5-Star Weekend as our first one that we want to read this summer by her. Now for a little mystery action, we have The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. This is set at a summer camp, so I feel like it's just perfect vibes. I've heard mixed opinions of this, so I'm really excited to read it and for my own opinions on it. But again, it's set at a summer camp. I think it's perfect, and I'm really excited to pick this one up. I do want to pick this one up soon. It is a little bit on the longer side, so I want to start getting into it and start reading it. Then we have Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. I've heard amazing things about this, and I think it's going to be a great story. I think it's a general fiction is technically what it's classified as, but sometimes I love a book that just pulls at my heartstrings, and I've heard this is what this will do. And I'm so excited. And I've heard one of the main characters is an octopus, and I think that's just so fun. So I'm super excited to read this, and I cannot wait to give you my thoughts on it because I've heard amazing things about this book. And then the last book that I have on my summer TBR, we are rounding out with another little summer romance. We have P.S. I Hate You by Lauren Connolly. This is a exes travel the world together romance, second chance romance. And I'm so excited. I have a travel bug right now. Like, I really want to go travel, and I think reading this will probably make that so much worse. But I think it's just a fun little summer romance to read. And again, I've been holding this off to read until summer, so I can't wait to pick it up. And again, I am so excited for summer. I think there is quite literally nothing better than sitting by the pool and reading a book. So this is what is on my summer TBR, as well as some of my summer reading recommendations. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm tired of talking, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.